I mean, knowledge is the way to find out how to reduce your footprint. And if you don't know what you're doing, you can't reduce.
We have experienced that our suppliers actually have developed so many great fabrics, and now it's actually the starting point for us in the design team.
Baum and Pferdgarten has always been acting with a very strong moral compass, but it's been very intuitive and very sort of based on a deep desire to act respectfully towards people and the planet. And then obviously that has changed, and now we're in a much more strategic place. And that all started, I think, in 2019 when we basically as a company decided to team up with a consultancy called Closed Loop, who were making a deep dive and analysis of the entire company. A massive part of our strategy for CSR is to also be transparent and open about where do we do well and where don't we do so well. So for example, on our website, you can click on every single product. You can see where has it been made, because of course supply chain is a huge part of the transparency. No doubt that the last year or so has also been a massive opportunity for self-reflection and soul-searching. Every single person might be privileged one way or another, might be biased one way or another, and we are well aware, trying to constantly have a mirror in front of ourselves and see can we do better? And of course, we constantly can do better, even though we think we try to always do the best.
We kind of wanted to jump into it in a way that where we could kind of explore what was actually possible to do with being more responsible with the way we were designing and producing our collection. So we decided to go all the way and make a capsule collection, which was more of like a showpiece collection. So in that way, we could kind of realize what was possible. So without compromising with the design and the DNA and what we were standing for, which is very expressive, it's very colorful, it's very the showpieces that we've done previously have been embellished, and this we tried to kind of get into being done in a more responsible way. We figured out that you can actually get a lot of great fabrics that are not bad for the environment, and also we printed without using no water. We embellished with recycled PET sequence. So we realized that you can actually get quite far with what is in the market at the moment. So we went all the way, and we experienced that you could you could not only make great garments, but also you didn't have to compromise.
Obviously, we are working on many parameters to kind of reduce our carbon footprint in the company. When it comes to logistics at the moment, because everything is super difficult in terms of getting our clothes to Denmark, we are at the moment using trains instead of boats, also still shipping, but and that seems to be the most environmental best way of transporting your products home. We are trying to reduce plastic use. We're trying to actually just reducing packaging, because the less paper, plastic, whatever you use for packaging, the easier and less environmental problems you'll have. We have always, from the beginning, I think a super important fact for Helle and I was that always try to do or make a product which lasts forever. I know it's not possible, but if you can actually use your garments again and again and again, and when you're done with it, you can share it with someone else, your mom or your friends. That is the obvious most important way of producing and looking at design and garments today.
You often think when you work with responsibility that it will limit you in what you're doing. And that was, I think, something that you have to understand. And what we challenged ourselves with was we don't want it to limit us. We want it to be part of who we are and how we design. And we succeeded in actually both creating beautiful design, but also in fabric that was responsible. And that made a lot of sense for us and was easy also to communicate.
We have quite ambitious goals for like how much of the collection should be made in responsible fabrics, and we have accelerated our goals within the last year. At the moment, I think we have about 70% of the collection that is made out of responsible fibers, and our goal is that in 2025 it should be 90%.
We decided from the very beginning to be quite transparent and open, admit that we were not there. There was a long journey in front of us, becoming a more responsible company. And we started making a report where we outlined where are we today and how do we want to work with this. And then we update it each year so that it's clear to everybody how we are working with it. And then of course we have a huge task, making sure that this is also something that the end consumer is actually understanding and seeing. And that's a constant work. And of course, really important part of this development.
If you have a piece of wonderful clothes in your wardrobe for 10 years, it makes so much more sense than going out buying 4 in 10 years. So
it's all about longevity.
It's all about longevity, exactly. Another thing is that we obviously e-com return rates and so on is a nightmare for, I guess, a lot of companies. So how can you actually have less returns? Maybe you can, which we are trying to do at the moment. We are trying to do a visualization of a dressing room. So when you buy a product at e-com, you choose your own body shape, you choose different other things that show who you are, and then you can actually try the clothes, which is a good business for us, but it's also good business for the environment.
And that's a really good point. A lot of these initiatives, it's good business for Baum and Pferdgarten, but it's also environmentally friendly.
Exactly.
What is special about what we do is that we really try to focus, because otherwise it becomes too complex and too complicated, too expensive and too many obstacles actually to overcome.
Also when you're a smaller company and
and then you realize that so much is actually possible now, and then you get inspired and energized from those experiences. Of course, it is all about making it responsible in all these different chains.
Also the way that we, with transportation, which is such a big thing, you know, when you produce in different areas of the world, that we really manage to think it in as well, that you don't fly everything home from Asia or from the rest of the world, but we try to do our shipping by train or by sea, and so I think that is also, I think it has quite a big impact.
We use a lot of time analyzing what fibers we're using, how we're using them, where are we using them, how can we recycle them, and so on.
And speaking of an investment, of course, we've invested in this system, and I think the big game changer is the system helps us get the overview super fast. So instead of spending time getting the overview,
Exactly.
we can spend time analyzing the data and acting on the data.
Exactly.
So we can super easily go into this system and see how much silk do we use, how much recycled polyester do we use, and of course act on that data to make a better solution going forward.